Tab and Jen, get you in.
Whoop, whoop. So today we're going to talk about applying to graduate school. And this is one of my favorite topics to talk about with prospective students, or as we call them, future grad jags. Really, because I think we want to help demystify this process of applying to grad school. So we're going to talk about the parts of an application and then give you guys some tips to help you stand out as a great applicant.
Okay, so we'll say first of all, you have to have a transcript. Basic, easy, right? Then you have to have a letter of recommendation, 2 to 3 of those.
Yeah.
Right? From a faculty member, most likely, or a supervisor that can speak to your, what's the word,
Well, they need to know you.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't go asking people who are strangers. Don't go asking folks who you spent 5 minutes with. I need a letter. No, it actually needs to be an instructor that you sat under and had a class with. Maybe you asked the right questions. Maybe you did some research with them so that they can talk about your aptitude for being successful in the graduate program. And then if you don't have like a lot of instructors that you know of, you can set up some time to talk to those folks and say, hey, I really would like to do a graduate program. Would you be willing to mentor me in this space? And can we talk a little bit about what I would need to do in order to get a good letter of recommendation from you? I always tell folks to ask for good letters of recommendation because a bad one is just terrible, right?
Yeah, good or strong, because if you get like a mediocre or a bad one, it's not going to help you out at all. So you want to ask for a strong or a good one. And I was going to say, sometimes people have lost touch with some of their, depending on where they're at in their journey with their undergrad faculty members. So a supervisor could be one, but they also have to speak to your aptitude, what they think you could succeed in grad school based on your work ethic and how you've showed up at work.
Right. So. Yeah, and you can ask those folks to talk about work ethic, your leadership qualities, your time management skills. You can ask them to talk about how you work with a team. So all of those things can be addressed if you are in the workplace and have a supervisor that wants to write or could write a letter of rec for you. Yeah, that could certainly happen. And admissions committees also want to see something from an instructor that says, hey, they can pass this class if you have to take it.
Yep. So then we have the personal statement, which either thrills or scares most people.
Yeah.
So you usually have the writing side and not the testing side, or the testing side and not the writing side.
Yeah.
But that's not really true, because everybody can do both of those if they really put their mind to it. But a personal statement is usually required, like 500 words, 1,000 words, 1 to 2 pages. And the biggest thing I'm always telling people, I know Dr. Hardy has some great advice and you do workshops and sessions on it, but is to follow instructions, just the real basic part. Like if it says 500 words, don't go 501 words. It's 500 words. You want to follow those instructions, show that you're ready to follow instructions and you're responsible enough to get it in on time, and to follow, if there's prompts, that you've used those prompts and answered those carefully. So. Yeah,
that's a great point, because some of those folks get a lot of applications in, right? So if you are the rule breaker and say, no, I'm going to get my story out and it's going to take me 520 words, they're probably going to look at you and be like, you know what? This person did not even follow the rules and didn't respect our time enough to leave it at 500 words. So we're going to eliminate that person. Don't give them a reason to count you out, okay? Follow the directions. Also, I would say with personal statements, I think it's hard for some folks to talk about themselves. So if you're finding it hard to talk about yourself, I would say ask your friends. Ask your friends about what makes you a great person, about why they think you would be good in a graduate program. They will tell you, because they're your friends and because they're a little bit biased, they're going to tell you some good things about yourself. So that's really great. It's your opportunity to sell yourself, right? So you have to be the used car salesman of your own life and of the fact that you really want to be in this program. And I think it helps too when you familiarize yourself with the research that's going on there, with the faculty members that are there, with the folks that are going to be a part of it, and you can tell people that I want to be a part of this program because this is my end goal, and this is who I want to be, and this is the type of job that I want to pursue. So with those personal statements, I would say definitely take your time with it, do different versions of it, have someone edit for you. Don't make those like simple mistakes that can cause you to be eliminated from the process, right?
Yeah, that's where I was going to like jump in as far as the area that I try to stress, because I was an English undergrad, is the writing, the actual writing and the grammar, and having someone read it that doesn't know anything about what you're, writing, your area of interest, someone that knows a lot about it, and someone that just knows a lot about grammar. So those that we're talking about 3 different people there, and also the people that you've friends that look at it, professors can look at it. Just get a lot of people look at it. And again, from the English undergrad viewpoint, you're going to have many drafts. If you do something the night before it's due, the admissions committee is going to know, and they're going to, say this was done overnight, and we need several drafts of this. So what I do, even to this day in my role where I do write for the grad school some things, is I write something and I put it away for a couple days, and then I come back to it, and I make it better, and every time I can make it better. You can always make it better. At some point, you're going to have to say, this is it, and it's due, and I'm putting it in there, but you got to do the drafts. You got to do those drafts, so.
You're making a great point, too, to be mindful of those deadlines, right? Because some programs have the last deadline, right? That last deadline is in June, but that's not really when they want you to apply, okay? They want you to apply well before that deadline. And then you have some programs who have a deadline of December 1st. But again, you don't want to sit there and wait till December 1st and then hit send and then something weird happens, right? So prepare your application materials early. So that means reaching out to recommenders early. That means ordering those transcripts early. And sometimes those transcripts cost you money, so factoring in that also could be a factor. Reading through and going through and make sure that you're answering all the questions that are involved in the application process. It's going to ask you about your educational history. They'll ask you your demographics, which basically, where you live, what's your permanent address, and a way to contact you. Put down email addresses that, make sense, right?
That you check. Yeah.
And that you check.
And that aren't funny looking.
Yes. Now's not the time for the creative ones.
Just use your name, right?
Use your name. It's fine.
And then the other thing I was going to mention as far as applications, sometimes a test is called for, an admissions test. The GRE is by far the most common, as we know. It's less and less required. It might be optional. At IU Indianapolis, there's not a lot of programs, I think, that are requiring it. But it could be something that you have to factor in, and that means a lot of time studying.
Absolutely.
And depending on how far out you are from undergrad, how much studying will need to happen, because I was 20 years after my undergrad that I went to grad school and had to do the GRE, so I did a lot of studying. So you have to factor that in. But fortunately, we are looking more at holistic admissions. We're looking at people that have overcome obstacles, perseverance, things that some people just aren't good test takers. I am not a good test taker.
Absolutely.
And so I am a good writer, so I do well at the personal statement. But that's why I was saying we all have our strengths, but you make it come together. And fortunately, the test is not required for many of our programs.
Yeah.
Right?
But keep in mind, if you're in one of those professional programs, like a medical school still requires the MCAT, dental school requires the DAT, law school still requires the LSAT. So those professional programs may have those entry-level tests that they require also. So you got to build that time in to study for it, prepare for it, and then for the scores to come back to make you look like a great applicant.
Yeah, and I think if they say it's optional to do it and you're a good test taker, do it. Because it could make the difference, could make you stand out.
Yeah.
It also can be the source of funding. If you do really well, you might get like a merit-based fellowship or scholarship using that. if your scores are really good.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point, Jennifer. So think about all of those things as you apply to graduate school, and think about what sets you apart from all of these other folks. Your story is unique, so find your voice and tell that story and let people know that you are a gift to their program and you're going to do great things.